Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, good afternoons, salutations. Um, However you want to say it, right? Welcome to Suitman Productions. This is our 34th edition, I think, of Dating with Disabilities. Um, this week we have a guest that's a little bit different. I've never met this guy. I don't know his disability. I don't know what's wrong with him. But I know he's actually a pretty good comedian. He's in the same market as some of my friends, so this should be a fun time. Our co-host today, we've only got one. For whatever reason, I think Jane Jira is trying to make some real money, right? Like, boo. Jane Jira's at a market selling her things. Good for her in Seattle. And all artists, that's one of the hardest things to do is sell your shit. And then Variety D's just MIA. She's probably got some hot dude she's making out with somewhere, right? Wouldn't you agree with that one, Sylvie?
Uh,
Maybe, hopefully, right? That's the whole idea. Anyways, our usual co-host is here. Give it up for Sylvie Santosa.
Santoso.
Ken
Yeah.
Santoso, sorry. Jesus, you're
Uh,
so spicy today. Where are you at today, Sylvie?
I'm in Toronto.
You're just in Toronto,
Just
nothing special.
yeah, I
Nothing special, no international
nothing
travel.
special.
No little
No.
Thai boys, no little Indonesian boys, none of that.
Oh,
This
you never know.
you never know. That's totally different. Huh? And then up next, give it up for the comedian out of Sacramento. Give it up for Jonny Hags. What's up, buddy? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, woke up ready to go. I didn't think it would happen. I'm feeling good.
He's like, yeah, woke up ready to go. Next thing you know, you're like, I'm up, I'm here.
I guess the 7 a.m. radio interview I did on Friday kind of got me ready for this early morning podcast stuff. So
I heard what you're saying there. You're like the professionalism of radio. They're ready to go at 6:50. This shit I don't know about. We're running out of black time, Johnny. You didn't know that? You did a radio interview. What was the radio interview about, Mask?
I did. It was just kind of about being a comedian. This guy out of Reno, him and his wife have a radio show. I remember his last name Mingus because, well, it's a strange name, but also he told me he is the grandson of Charles Mingus, the great jazz musician. So that was very cool. But he's doing comedy shows. He's doing I don't know if he does music shows as well as part of that, but he's looking for artists to help promote basically. He wants to bring you on his radio show if you're out of town and can't do the show first thing, can't do the live show and kind of introduce you to his audience. So we just kind of chatted it up and it was a good time.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. We've already figured out you're a comedian. How long have you been a comedian? I know I don't think we've met in real life, have we? I'm pretty
No,
sure
no.
we haven't. But you run in a lot of the same circles. I know the Jackie Pearls, the DeLuces, and all them. How is it in Sacramento? How long have you been doing comedy?
It's great. So I've been doing it coming up on uh 2 years in January. It'll be 2 years. My comedy birthday will be in January, and I've just found it really great place to start out with comedy. Found the environment, the community really supportive, and get along with a lot of the comedians, which I feel like is just kind of kind of a fluke as far as like when I go to
Did you
another
did
scene.
you hear Sylvie and her tisk tisk when you said that? Do you have something to add to that, Sylvie? I heard you go, whatever. How long have you been doing it, Johnny, again? Sorry.
It'll be 2 years in
Oh,
January.
you're still a baby. That's why, isn't it? What would you say to that, Sylvie?
Wait.
No,
Just
just
wait.
wait. Give it some time. Give it. What is it? I'd say by the 5 year mark, you're gonna have
Yeah.
your first beef, right?
5, 6, yeah.
Yeah, 5, 6 years. Somebody's gonna hate you. But so you've been doing it 2 years. How, you like it? You're loving it. You're still the nice guy, right? Nobody hates you yet. Do you hate anybody yet? Are you gonna spill the tea on here?
There's definitely some uh gears grinding, yeah. So I guess my gears ground sometimes. Um I've been hosting open mics, so there's some at the end of the mic if I'm not like, wow, nobody was here, nobody was there ready for their set, then I'm feeling good about it, but I'll get frustrated sometimes. Um
You're running a
and
mic.
I've been helping run a mic. So, hopefully I can start my own here pretty soon. I run a monthly show. We just had our show last night. But I've been just kind of hosting mics, stepping in and taking some of those duties. So not doing it every single week, but helping out with mics. I mean, in October I did do it every week because we had so many going. But as happens with comedy, the bar, wherever, realizes that they change their minds about wanting open mic, so we lose them.
So
What you
and
gonna
I'm
do?
yeah, and I don't ask you these questions because I don't know how much you know about me, but I've ran online, I've ran in person, I've done open mic for like 26 weeks in a row at one spot. I've done monthlies. I had a monthly thing called I called the open case because it was like an open mic slash showcase because it was the first place where people could do like 10 minutes instead of just five, right? So
Hmm.
I get it. But we're not here just because you're funny. Right. This is an autistic artist. She'll be on here a different day, maybe. This is called Dating with Disabilities. And one of the requirements to be on the show is you've got a disability. So what's your superpower? I'm deaf, autistic, and even a whole bunch of other stuff. What's your superpower, may I ask, Johnny?
Uh, I don't know if I would call it a superpower. Maybe maybe it leads to a superpower in that I'm empathetic and I can understand and relate to people who I mean everybody's got something going on. I feel like could be something mental, it could be something that you got past now you can help other people with. But I have multiple disabilities, namely I have a connective tissue disorder and hypermobility. You can call that a lot of different things. Hypermobility syndrome, I think, is one of them, which is extreme flexibility in the joints.
Oh, joy.
Oh.
Mhm. So I guess I can do some stuff that most people can't do, but I've never been what people call double jointed, which is a misnomer. There's not anything really different about those joints that can flex in ways that other people can't do it. But yeah, I sometimes I can touch my thumb
Okay.
to
It's
my
okay. I'm a football player. I don't like so people have done that thing, right? I had which figure is it? See this one? See it's how it's all fat right there. This one was pointing a different direction. Being a football
Ooh.
player, you don't like to see those kind of things. You know what I mean? It's like bad memory. Let me ask you, what's your best part? I mean, you said you've got some. I'm assuming you're saying you're neurodivergent. You're not disclosing which one, which is okay. We're all different here. What part of your has sorry have these things affected you like dating wise? Are these things that you bring into your dating life, or are they just kind of just things you deal with on a daily basis?
Oh yeah, anybody who's in my life, basically in any capacity, is confronted with it. I don't have any. I mean, I've had struggles with depression, linked mostly because of my disabilities. But yeah, I don't have any. I don't have like any learning disability diagnosis or anything.
Oh no,
Uh,
it's not learning. It's just you said all your dating is been impacted by your disabilities. What do you mean by that?
yeah, well, I started a lot of people with connective tissue disorders. They're not. It's not present, obvious, since they've been born. So it was a similar thing with me. I started getting hurt in my late 20s, uh, and
And what do you
uh,
mean by getting hurt?
So
I
what I
the
mean is we have no basis. I'm literally Googling what connective tissue disease is. You got to
Mhm.
give us an idea what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
big fella.
yeah. So it's compromised connective tissue, which runs through your muscles, surrounds your muscles, connects your joints, all the plastics, as they'll refer to it, part of your body, tendons, ligaments, so everything that's holding you together. So these also, run through your organs and support your organs. So there's just a whole slew of things that can go wrong with you because of this. And I was a healthy kid, and then mid 20s, I stood up to leave class last day of college, about to get my bachelor's degree at Humboldt State University, and my knee gave out.
Oh shit.
And I wasn't an athlete, not doing anything particularly rigorous. Um, I would ride my bike up a kind of decent hill to school every day, and realized I wasn't keeping good form with my knees tucked in. That was the best answer that I got as to far as to why. Uh, my knee actually didn't give out in that moment. I had a pain, and I was walking, getting a pain just from supporting weight on my leg, and then it did give out a couple times before I got some crutches. But yeah, so all these mystery things started happening. I started dealing with GI issues, stomach issues, and stuff like that, and eventually got a diagnosis. And so I deal with pain. I deal with symptoms that fluctuate largely. Sometimes I've had symptoms that I've had once and never again, and that's kind of just how things go with a connective tissue disorder. It's very up and down. Some days you might feel great, sometimes not so great. So um, different.
And I asked this for a reason because um, from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing is this is something similar to lupus, right? And
Yeah, so there's a lot of different diseases that will fall under the umbrella of connective tissue disorder. Yeah, so there's some super serious, I mean, Marfan syndrome, it affects your heart.
okay.
And so I just kind of have a really mild version of a connective tissue disorder, which they dubbed as um, unspecified is one of the ways that they referred to it, the diagnosis. So it's very much not something. Some of them we actually know the gene for, and they do gene testing, and they go, oh yeah, well you have this gene, shows you have Marfan's, um, and yeah, just a bunch of strange things. Like I was born with a hole in my heart,
Mm.
and found that
Jesus.
out. You laugh.
No, it's not that I'm laughing, and obviously I want you to apologize to you. I'm autistic, so I laugh at things when they're serious. I don't always, you know what I mean, have the right answer. We laugh a lot when shit gets serious around here. But the idea is not so much I'm laughing at you, it's just more that that's like damn, you know what I mean? There's no other way to say it other than damn, that's a hole in your heart is something new. And not only that, but when you were talking, I didn't. You're like my issues. You're telling me that your disabilities, and I'm like, what is he talking about? And then you tell me, you got lupus. That's kind of like the hot word for what you guys have. Not everybody knows Marfan or whatever.
I don't have lupus.
Not saying
Uh,
you have lupus, but
no, no, no.
sorry. let me backtrack. We all know how serious lupus is, I think, right? And so depend. Uh-oh. Did we just get some noise going? You got that in the back of your
I
headset?
did hear noise. It's not in my room though, no.
Uh-oh. Well, how did I don't even know how we got music going. I'm
I
losing.
saw I saw two of you in my screen.
There we go. That's better. I closed out my damn internet and that stopped it. Um, what I was gonna say is I didn't understand what you were saying. Um,
Mhm,
when you were saying connective tissue disease, if that makes sense. I'm
mhm.
not saying you have lupus, but I know how serious lupus is, and so to read that their lupus is under its umbrella or something similar, and then you have a hole in your heart is like, holy shit, this isn't a joke. I can see why you were so excited to talk about being on here. At first, is I don't know what he's talking about. Um, you said you found out about connective tissue issue when you're 20, but you've had a hole in your heart the whole time. Has that affected you as well, like athletically and other ways, or
I was born with a hole in my heart. It closed up.
okay,
It closed up when I was still an infant. So, lupus is also a uh what do you call it when you're immunocompromised? So that's a kind of a different
Autoimmune.
kind of serious. Yeah. So, uh, I mean, it's just way more serious. And like I said, I have mild connective tissue disorder, so mild manifestation of it. But I mean, I did sports when I was a kid. Like I said, I was a normal kid. Um, like food sensitivities and GI problems, all this long list of things. Uh, started like being 26 and with my knee giving out. And I didn't find out what a connective tissue disorder was or get diagnosed for years after that. I'm 33 now.
okay, okay. And you said it's been affecting your dating. Is it something like do you go on dating websites? Do you put it on your profile? Is it something you got to put out there? Or
I just put disabled on my Instagram, so if I end up like people end up seeing my Instagram before they meet me, then they'll, they look at my bio. But I'm just kind of learning to identify with it and own it. So no, I haven't put it on my dating profiles. I mean, with online dating, I've kind of like half-ass it because it feels like I'm not gonna put all this effort into like it just takes so long to find somebody that I vibe with on those things. I'm like I'm not putting that much effort into it. But uh definitely ends up coming up like pretty soon if I'm talking with somebody, if it goes to text message or something, and we end up talking for a while, it ends up coming up. So I mean it's just such a prevalent part of my life and something that affects my day to day that it's impossible to ignore.
I can only imagine. I've got bad joints. I've got issues. Not anything where like my knees give. No, yeah, I've had my knee give out. Not as in the same sense yours probably, just because I've had a reconstructed knee and I've had it not be stable enough and like fall. But is it more than just? I mean, it sounds like it's more than just your knee. Is it ankles? Is it all joints? Like, what's how?
Yeah, yeah. As far as like joint pain, I don't have a lot of that. I have a lot of muscle pain and tight muscles. It affects. I mean, you could say it affects all my joints, but some are more flexible than others. So being hypermobile, your body will kind of react. So, say your joint is less stable than the average person, the muscles that support that joint are gonna maybe work overtime to try to keep it stable. They might lock up, and so I have issues with pain from tight muscles. I'm always at the getting a massage. I'm always getting a chiropractor to reset me because everything kind of is. Uh, has a different composition, or I guess you could say, than the normal
No, no, I get what you're
person.
saying because I know when I went with for my physical therapy, you have overcompensation for one muscle because some other muscle's tight. And so you gotta work your right side to get your left side to loosen up, and then once your left side's loosen up, then you gotta and bounce back and forth, and it's this whole balancing act of trying to make sure that everything's getting the attention it needs, right? And if your muscles are tensing too much to help one joint, then they're not flexing for another. And I get it. I hear you. Has this affected your comedy at all, or are you? I mean, you're still 2 years in, so I don't know if you're doing the 30s to 40s yet. Is it okay? Are you using the stool? Are you a stool guy on stage or what?
No, I'm not a stool guy, but I mean, right now I'm going up for, I've done like 16 minutes or something is the most that I've done.
Okay,
Uh, and so hosting, I mean, ideally, in anywhere I am, I can stand up or sit down when I need to, just do whatever. Sometimes I need to get up and stretch. Sometimes I need to sit down and relax. So, um, hosting, I'm able to just sit in the back or stand in the back, whatever I need. Works out pretty good. But yeah, I have a lot of limitations when it comes to driving. So I live in Sacramento, which
okay,
means I can drive most places. I live downtown, so I'm 15 minutes away from a lot of stuff, which is like
ideal.
good, yeah, good amount to drive. But I like say I get a gig in San Francisco on a weekday, that's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna miss some work. I'm gonna take the train or see if somebody can drive me out. Um, so when I visit, I have some friends in Oakland that I stay with, and I do comedy out there, and I'm able to just take public transport everywhere. It's great. And that would be my ideal situation is to be somewhere with a big enough market for comedy where I can bus around, take the train, and be totally independent and stuff. So uh,
That's
Yeah.
hasn't hasn't affected my comedy too much besides that I talk about it. So, that affects my jokes.
oh
Can I
really?
ask question?
Of course, Sylvie. Could I ask question? Yes.
Um, you said that this condition affect you in dating. What kind of issue that you face there?
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I haven't fully addressed that question. Um, I I mean, like I said, when it comes up, so some people uh aren't, they're looking for I'm definitely a queer individual. I'm bi-curious, being that I've never been with a man or a non-binary person, but I so if
Well,
somebody's looking for like a traditional male figure, I'm not going to be the strong guy. I'm not going to be, provider. So that affects my, options. And then
Mm.
uh, I
well, let's
definitely.
pause there. Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
What's your definition of queer? Because from that may be different for everybody, and I'm not everybody who listens to our show is always the most um understanding. So I always like to
Mhm.
give all the definitions. What is your definition of queer, and what does that mean for you? I know you said you're bi curious, you're interested, you're willing to
Mhm.
try. Um, is it, I heard you say out a couple of things. So you're not into the gender norms. Is more you're like I'm not a breadwinner. I'm not gonna be the guy, and I'm not gonna be alpha. Is that more?
Hey, I'd happy to be a breadwinner if I, make it in comedy or something. I'll pay for your shit. But yeah, to me, queer is just like you're saying, outside of the norm. So if heterosexual is kind of like the baseline, and I'm outside of just heterosexual, I don't know. I know that I have some interest in uh or have had interest in individuals who are non-binary, uh who are men, who are non-binary men, male assigned at birth. So
Gotcha.
uh
And
yeah,
I don't mean to
anything.
put you on the spot here either. You know what I mean? Like we had one of our best episodes and biggest things we've ever had is our one of our former co-hosts Benny came out on our show and told everybody he was gay. And next thing you know, 2 years later, he's in this great gay relationship and he's happy. But at first, it was like a misnomer. And it wasn't that we were asking him to come out or get into it. It's just we're asking, you know what I mean, the simple questions so people can have the understanding of what is, you know what I mean, connective tissue disorder. What is being queer? If they've never identified with these things because we're on radio, they can have an idea or basis of what we're or why we're talking about it, if that makes any sense, right? So
Yeah, I'm happy to educate. I love it.
it's one of those where I don't know if we do enough of that, right? Like we throw the word queer out, and so somebody might think, well, that just means he's gay. Well, he's not saying he's gay. And he's it sounds like you're okay being in a straight relationship, possibly if that's what pursued you, right? But
Oh
you're
yeah.
also in some of these other things, and so the idea of being queer isn't sexuality; it's more your not what you I guess you know what I mean, like it's different than what some people may want to perceive it as, so I'd want to make
Hmm.
sure people are identifying you properly. And you said you're just getting into the whole questioning, the cue, the looking, the trying, the tasting, the dabbing. Is it that you haven't found one to take the line and bite, or you just haven't got your toes wet? Which one is it?
Um, I so I mean I've spent my life dating mostly straight females, I guess. Uh, I don't know if I want to say mostly, but you know, females and women who um,
Identify as cisgender, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
So no dangling carrots yet.
no dangling carrots.
Sylvie
No,
is not. I just want to warn you. Sylvie is not PC. Okay, Sylvie is definitely not PC. She's not gonna be all warm and comfy like you would expect. I'm the one from
Oh, hey,
Seattle.
hey, hey.
Remember? Okay, so just to warn you. Go ahead.
all
Jesus.
good. Yeah. No, so I mean, it was kind of part of dating helped me and using dating apps kind of helped me like come to terms with the fact that I'm bi-curious. So I say queer because if somebody sees that as just gay, that's not really a problem. Somebody like there's it's kind of funny being in the comedy scene and somebody will like make a gay joke about me and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." I'm like like
I'm, I'm not. That's what I was getting at. Is just because you say you're queer doesn't mean you're gay,
right,
or
right.
a queer, which used to like that. I shouldn't say, and I'm not saying a queer, but you're old enough where you grew up in you're born in the '90s. It sounds like just past the
Yeah.
'80s, so
Hmm.
you still heard some of the tones of what we did in the '80s and '90s. But queer, the F word, those were all things that were thrown out to make people feel like they were less than, right? And so now the
Hmm.
word queer isn't so much mean that you're gay. It just means that you're weird, right? Like that's the definition, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but that's like the definition is you're not the norm, is what you were saying. Is I'm not the gender norm, so queer is the gender non-norm, right? And so
Right.
there's this whole disconnect for people of Sylvie's generation and my generation, right? And this new term for queer because what we were, does that make it? I think.
Yeah, and it's just so mainstream now that you kind of you could turn on the TV and hear queer, right? Versus, I mean, I just learned like in the 30s there were people who were identifying as queer. So even though they like if you heard that in public media, it would right in the 30s it would not be something positive, but people were still claiming it as something positive for themselves. So I just learned that kind of blew my mind. But so all through this time, people have used that term queer. So yeah, especially since I'm at a time uh, that's kind of explored it for me, and I haven't fully defined. Like I would be comfortable saying that I'm pansexual right now. But part of it is um, the just the community. I don't want to go and join all these like maybe a support group for bisexuals and show up and go, "Oh, I've never been with anybody but a straight woman."
Yeah,
People might be like, "Okay, well, what are you doing here?" You know what I mean? So
so
even though I
I
fall on
hear
the
you.
spectrum that's not straight, I can't say I'm straight, but I don't want to say label something that maybe because when it comes down to it, the majority of people have had some kind of feeling other than, that they're straight when they survey people. Most people have had at least some kind of thought, you know, other than the that says that they're not 100% straight all the time. So, yeah, it's just kind of a thing about identity and kind of navigating that for yourself and seeing how you fit in the community. And queer is just kind of a term that you can make it mean what you want it to mean. It's just, yeah, some other than what
Well, no,
people call.
I'm glad you said all those things because it's funny to hear that queer that it's almost like us black people in the N word, like we take it back, right? Like we've taken it back, or you could say women and the word bitch, or you know what I mean. The idea of them taking back their vagina, or the word pussy, right? Or a lot of the things that have been taboo are now no longer taboo, right? Or should it have even been taboo to begin with, right? And labeling people has always been a way for anybody in this world, right, to separate themselves or make somebody feel superior or inferior, right? And so,
Hmm.
taking back the idea you're weird queer, I also thought it was funny to hear you say there's a comedian named Kyle Adams who says, I hate it when people say they're bi. If you haven't sucked a dick, you're not bi yet, right? And I was like, whoa, right? But there's that, like you were saying, there's that point of you don't want to be in this conversation or in Pansexuals Anonymous, and nobody, and they're like, so what have you date? Well, I've dated straight women. Then how can you say you're you know what I mean? Um, I
Hmm.
I kind of respect that because I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, and it's not. I don't want to make this generalization. I'm not going to act like Sylvie today. I'm not going to act like but I don't want to make the generalization that all there's a ton of guys acting gay or acting bi to hit on women, right? But we all know one or two guys that have never dated a dude, right? But tell their homegirls they're bi. You're like, hey, nah, you just want that, I guess, what's the word? Comfort level to come down, right? Like I guess you got that there's a misnomer that bi guys and gay guys are nicer than regular guys. Not a misnomer, but you know what I mean. So it's good to hear that you're not like just jumping full force. You're just like you said, you're a Q. You're a queer and questioning. You're not a queer and bi yet or bi curious or not that I give it. Hopefully, let me also say this so I don't sound like an idiot. Not like I give a shit either. Not you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying it's interesting to hear the conversation. Does that make any sense, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I think it's very interesting as well.
That's why you're looking into it, right? Uh, what was it? Now, was it like you watched a particular anime? You said you've gotten more into it, right? You heard what it said there. You must be a nerd. You snickered. Is there a particular person you saw? Was there a particular profile you saw, or was it just this overall feeling like, I think I might go for a man's?
I'm not into anime actually. I like making fun of it, I guess. That's
You
why.
son of a bitch!
It's
Fuck you!
it's such a it's such a it's so out of my like um awareness, I guess, my day to day that yeah, it's just I don't know, funny to me. But I'm a nerd in other ways. But I yeah, and to I mean to just briefly mention like uh and we can talk about it later if you want, in how it's affected me in dating, like being disabled, being having pain, having limitations, what I can physically do with my body, exertion, and all these things. You know, just even just like cuddling on the couch and sex, are greatly affected. But I I realized I had a crush on a guy. Um, I can't remember which came first. It was about the same time. Um, I met a non-binary person who was male signed at birth, and uh, I instantly kind of felt an attraction to them, and that kind of surprised me. So that was like 2020, um, and that kind of, which is this is all so late in life to be happening, right? But most people question like their sexuality before they're in their 30s. Which I did, I guess. But
I love how you're
I
psychoanalyzing yourself as the show goes.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I don't have a therapist right now, so this is my chance. And then there was somebody that I knew in college that I just was like, oh, I really have. He was playing a show in my hometown, and uh, in Sacramento, and so I went to go see him, and I was just had in my head, I really like this guy, I relate to him or whatever. We like the same type of music, whatever it was, and he's a drummer, and then he took off his shirt, and I was like, I think it's something else. I think it's something else. I don't think it's our mutual appreciation for music, Of course, that's part of it when you have a crush on someone, if they were constantly listening to music you hated, that would be a turn off, right? But
I don't know
so
if I could have a crush on a woman who listens to country music every day. You're right. All
right.
my exes live in tech. This bitch gotta go. Bitch, you gotta go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so those are a couple those are what stand out to me the most as kind of
So the reason why I say this to you, and I'll preface myself and kind of explain. So as a kid, as a child, at one point I was molested, especially by a man, right? And so as a guy that, especially a masculine guy, that could fuck with your sexuality. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they were like, "You're so strong," and I was like, "Not really. I mean, it hurt. I wasn't that strong. No, sorry." But in the same regard, it's just it's a thing about attractiveness. I've never looked at a guy and said, "Damn, he's got a nice ass on him," right? I've never looked at a guy and been like, "Hmm, I want to see him get out the shower." No, I don't mean any of these things as an insult, right? But
no,
if
I was
some
the same way. I was the same way. I
right.
don't Yeah, I was the same way. I was very were you raised religious as well?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
So
So I
I'm not
was
I'm not religious at all, and this isn't me like shaming. I don't care what people like. It was just for me that was the line to be able to tell people that there's nothing about me seeing a man that's attractive. There's for me, and so that it's interesting to hear that you've identified this in yourself. It's not like and for those conservative folks out there that are like the whole you're not born a certain way. Yeah, you are. You're Johnny's telling you right now. One day he was like, I think I like strawberry jam. I don't like just apple butter, right? I think I want some strawberry jam today. That's okay, right? Like, and I'm not. I know
Carrots, carrots.
carrots. She's fucking Silvi. Her and her innuendos. You're not appropriate, Silvi. Um,
Hey,
it's the carrot juice that I want.
carrots.
oh
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Don't. You're not supposed to encourage it, Johnny. Right? But that's what I'm getting at. Is like one day you're like you grow up and you get old. And you're like I like prune juice. Nobody fucking likes prune juice, right? But you hit 67, you're like I love prune juice. So in your case, you're like I want to try it. Now, let me ask you: Are you? Is this something everybody knows that Johnny's queer now and questioning, or is this something like if mom or dad watched this, they'd be like, "What do you mean you want to date a guy? Are you openly telling everybody? Are you dropping bombs on our podcast again?"
I'm dropping bombs. Dropping bombs. I mean, like I said, it's on my Instagram profile now. So if my parents went and looked, they would see that. But
And I don't mean to break up your home either, or fuck up
oh
your
no,
kid. Just
actually, no, I take that back. I take that back. It says disabled. And I was like, oh, I should put disabled and queer, but I haven't yet. But yeah,
well,
no, my
that's
parents
on your
actually.
hold on. That's on your to-do list today now,
Uh-huh,
Johnny.
uh-huh,
Disabled and queer. I'm sorry.
uh-huh.
What are you saying? Your parents what?
So the reason I brought up, I was curious if you were raised religious because I was raised religious, and I have, I mean, like in college, I remember telling somebody, I mean, it was a guy who was like, uh, hi hitting on me who I didn't want to be hitting on me, so that had something to do with it. But I was like, "Oh, I'm not gay, dude." Like he was trying to like coerce me into like making out with him or something. Um, and so I've had those thoughts that, oh, I'm not attracted to guys at all. But I was raised in Protestant church, and so I had kind of programming that, you know, being gay is not okay. So that it's hard to know how much of that affected, how that affected, what ways that affected like my sexuality or my preferences or my uh just, you know, kind of surveying myself to was I ever actually able to ask myself and be honest and explore if I was gay um, before these more recent things, or was it just something that I wrote off that I go, well, I can't be gay. You know, I won't be accepted. So that um, thought of it that way. But my parents are preachers.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Oh,
my
hey, hard right turn, everybody. Let's. This might as well be a joke. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, and I can see like I guess, and I'm not saying you're the new generation, but that is the new generations of thinking, right? Like, what gender do you want to be? What sexuality do you want to have? Do you? And Sylvie's already ready to laugh. Those aren't things that I'm used to. You right? Like you're born a certain way. Boys like girls, girls like boys. There is that gender norm, right? And especially before the '90s, anybody before the '90s. So I can hear the what's the word the freedom you're having in this expression, right? The freedom in you saying, I've never, I had two parents who were preachers. Yeah, you're not allowed to be gay in my house, right? Are you allowed to? So I'm glad to hear you're getting to explore your sexuality, I guess, right? You think they're going to be blown back by this or?
so I definitely wouldn't say you're not allowed to be gay in my parents' house. They're very welcoming, but they're still just they are, you know, kind of in that convention, um, just of the mindset that being gay is wrong, I believe still. So,
Yeah,
and
and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that you couldn't be gay in your house. I'm just saying for those people that you obviously didn't come from this welcoming, everybody look and see what you want to be and what do you want to do. Just more
yeah,
this
yeah,
husband, wife. This is the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and all that.
yeah, yeah, no, exactly. So, uh, yeah, obviously I don't want to speak poorly of my family, but they have been welcoming. Like my cousin came out as gay, and they had her and her partner over for dinner at their house. My sister uh has come out as gay, and she still lives with them. She moved back in and lived with them.
That's
Um,
kind of
uh,
a weird because a lot of people that has very what you call that religious background also at some point somewhat come up with this kind of things like with something that the like I'm just curious about No, I'm also very like, raised in a very um fanatic Christian background, so I'm just kind of curious about that as well. It's just because of people sometimes before try to hide behind the religion because of that, or like now we have more freedom, so we can say or do what we thought is fit for us, or something. I don't know. It's just like, or I don't know. Like I'm also has a like a trauma and being molested when I was young. So that also make another stuff in my brain, sort of, in my personality, sort of. But yeah,
No, I
yeah,
get it. I hear you. It's that older age. She's like, just because your parents are, maybe it's because your parents are religious. Everybody's coming out. Well, that's not the answer, and it's not
yeah.
because of that. It's just times are different, and only times are different. But Johnny can't answer for all religious people or everybody. We're not asking him to either. Um, but I think, like you said, is with the internet, with support, with anything. There's countries that are full Muslim that have gay people in them, right? We have
Mm.
one of the first, one of the only non-binary comics out of Malaysia who's been on our show three different
It's
times.
Kamar, yeah.
Julia Heng, right? She's the only non-binary comic that identifies as that in Malaysia because it's illegal, right? So, and I think that's what I think Sylvie's getting at, Johnny, not to bring you down, right? But it's just different. It's she's a little bit older. The times are different. She just came back from Indonesia and Thailand where shit's different. It's just different. I'm glad to hear your family supports you. It's like that even if they don't think it's right, you're gonna have to deal with it. My sister's gay, my other cousin's gay. Ha ha, whatever, mom. Deal with it. Is it like you guys are having fun at birthday? Ha ha. What are you gonna do now? You can't tell us it's a sin. We're okay. I've never understood that, anyways. That's why I'm not religious. I grew up poor. Sorry, Johnny. Sorry for my rant. But you said your sister came out, they supported her, they support your cousin. Everything's been good. Most of your generation of the kids, everybody's getting along with it. Is that it's just the older ones that are having the heart attacks?
I wouldn't say everybody's okay with it who's young, but yeah, I mean, like my cousins that are still religious, I feel supported by them. And like one of them he came to my comedy show, and I brought it up beforehand. Uh, I think I'm gonna do my joke about this. And he was just like, I was basically came up to him. He was like, yeah, like
Okay.
no, it was very much like, yeah, normal thing. So yeah, I think just the way that people talk about it more, and we have figures in the media and stuff, even if
Mhm.
you grew up in the church not knowing anybody who's gay, you'll still have some exposure to it before uh
Mm.
you come in contact with somebody. So that's a great thing. Uh,
I just I find it weird at this. I'm in Seattle, so the idea of all of this is not that big of a deal. Sylvie's in Toronto and from Indonesia and Asia and just spent like half the damn summer in other countries where, this is not the norm, right? It's not okay. There's certain things that are taboo, right? You go to certain streets or certain party, like I don't. She's laughing. We can't see you, Sylvie. You're halfway down the screen. But it's different being in Sacramento. I know you guys have comics like Heather Rogue and all that are a trans woman that they openly make fun of people, and it's not like they're nice about it. They'll have fun with it. Do you find people make fun of you because of your disabilities at all, or your queerness, or have you gotten into the roast battle scene with Josh Means yet?
I am. I actually have a show with him now. So I've been uh I have been kind of timid to enter that scene, and part of it is my disabilities. The gay thing, I'm like like I said, if comics call me gay, if it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
But the disability thing could hit different for sure, right? So, yeah, in February 12th, I have a show, Punchline, Roast Battle Bay Area,
Yep.
um, performance, and I just did a couple weeks ago a little mini roast, with George Brett Olson. Logan Farr was teaching a workshop, and he was like, we're gonna do roast battle style today." So we had a few minutes. We gave each other some background, and we wrote, um, and it went really well. I had a lot of fun, so I'm like, I think I could see myself doing this. And so I had told him I have a connective tissue disorder. Um, when I don't remember if I said hypermobility when he asked me like what disabilities that I have. Um, and I'm thinking how I'm gonna approach it. Like in the roast battles, I might just be like, "Hey, say I have physical disabilities. Like, you don't want to get into having to explain like a connective tissue disorder during a roast battle, right? It doesn't make any sense. So like for as far as hypermobility, they could say like that I'm extra flexible. I could see that being a turn into a good roast joke, right? About me being flexible. But yeah, so it's still kind of to be determined how I'm gonna approach that. But yeah, that's what I'm planning on, planning on discussing with Josh. Hey, Josh Means, who runs those.
Yeah, shout out to Josh, by the way. I almost got I haven't I've been down to talk to him once. I was talking about doing a roast battle with him. We had talked about possibly meeting me coming down, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be down." He's like, "All right, cool. Let me know when you get here." I was like, "Yeah, I'll come down from Seattle." He's like, "You're coming down from Seattle for this?" He's don't worry about that, man. It's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? He's like, but I just wanted to get on a roast battle. It's fun. Also, shout out to Logan. I know Logan. Logan's been on our podcast, and then I see that we did a show together actually out here towards Seattle, and he looked over and I'm black and I'm in a suit, which is my thing. So he didn't want to say he knew me, and then he's white with no legs, and I didn't want to be like, you look like the other white guy, no with no legs. So it wasn't until halfway through our introductions of our little pre-show meeting that we went, "Hey, I know you, I thought I knew you, right?" And then not only that, but I love Logan because Logan was not born with a disability, right? And for those who don't know Logan lost his legs and he served in the army, and everybody thinks he lost his legs serving in the army, and that is not what happened. And he loves to tell everybody that he fell off, he got hit by a train, right? And I laugh at that because he tells the story, and it is kind of funny that everybody wants to buy him a drink, and he's like, "No, I lost my legs on my own. I didn't lose them at war." And then he's an aggressive little fucker too, so he's like a regular guy like me. And then one day we talked about it. He's 260 pounds without legs. That means he's a fat fucker. No, I'm sorry. Logan's not here to defend himself. You can tell him I said all that shit. He'll laugh anyway. But that's what I wondered. Like doing a roast battle. I remember I did one once, and I go by Suitman, and so this white guy made all these jokes about me being in a suit. So guess what I showed up in? Khakis and a polo shirt. I fucked up his whole roast battle. And everybody's like,
Mhm.
"That's fucked." That was no. If all you can do is be racist and talk shit about my clothes, kind of like you said about being gay, that's all you got. It doesn't hurt, right? So I did the same thing. I mean, what are you worried about? Somebody's gonna say you're so flexible, you suck your own. Like, oh, never mind. Um, I know why Johnny never leaves his house He's got connective muscle disease. He's just blowing himself every day. No, what do you think? Are you ready? Who's your opponent? Do I know who your opponent is?
No, it's actually part of a class. So we're gonna be doing 4 weeks of classes.
Okay.
So I figure that'll help warm me up, I'll get some insults thrown my way. Um, and it's just kind of like I deal with this thing every day. My life's harder without it, it's sometimes hard to talk about. So just getting like obliterated on stage about it. So uh I yeah, I've been hesitant.
I guess and I'll join you in talking about this. I remember the first time I talked about like being poor. um Kind of let me free. Well, this time when I was in Hawaii, I first time I did my jokes about having cockroaches in the microwave and counting down, and I was like 30, get off my meat. Tick, 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 25. Get off my green beans. And I'm doing this in Hawaii for the locals, and they're fucking dying, right? But I'm crying and laughing, and I'm telling and I'm crying, but I'm laughing. And it was like you said, it's therapy, right? Like you've gotta if
Mhm.
and I think one of the things I learned, especially when growing up, because I didn't know I was autistic. I just remember going to other classes half the day for most of my school life, right? I never got told you're autistic. I just went to school for 4 hours, then went somewhere else for 3 hours. I thought everybody did that. You don't ride the little bus with the wheelchair kid half the day. You don't do that. Just me, right? But that was the funny thing about being with the special kids is the special kids talk shit too. You know what I mean? Like when I I remember one time I was a paraeducator and one of the little kids came in and said the dog ate his homework, and the other kid was like, he doesn't have a dog. He just didn't do his homework. And I was like, oh shit, right? One day, one kid was like, I want to read, and Dallison up front, who was the nonverbal kid, who went, that guy doesn't know how to read. We'll be here all day. And I was like, oh fuck, like, right? So it's funny to hear Logan's the guy with no legs is the one who's running the roast battle, right? He's not running it, but the guy who's running the roast class.
Mhm.
Did you roast him at all? Are you like, what's your grand finale? Are you hoping to just get better at being able to take this shit? Is that what you're saying?
Logan was like essentially like a judge for a little mini roast battle. But I've been going up at Laughs Unlimited, which I will be there on Tuesday. For anybody who wants to come
Nice
see
drop
me.
in. Nice drop in there. I'll be there on Tuesday if you want to stop
Yes.
by. Go ahead.
And so he's been hosting some of those. So, uh, one thing I said was I like to introduce myself as Mr. Steal Your Drugs, not Mr. Steal Your Girl. But and I went, you can relax, Logan, not Mr. Steal Your Legs.
Oh no.
Somebody else did it already.
Yeah.
That
Damn.
God did that for you already, yeah.
Oh God, that's it's we had Mike Coteo. I'm pretty sure. Do you know? Did you meet Mike? Have you been? Maybe I don't think so.
That
You
doesn't
weren't at
sound familiar,
Savage
no.
Henry, but he's a New York comic, and he got hit by uh drunk driver as a baby, right? So he walks
mm,
all
Hmm.
fucked up. And the first time I met him, we were at the comedy festival, and some idiot couldn't park, and I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you, guy?" And he got out. He's like, "Not that much," and I was like, "Oh, I'm so." I didn't know. I was like, "Oh, there's a lot fucked up on that guy." I don't know. Well, you know what's funny? Guess what time it is, Johnny?
Funny time.
No, it's the end of the fucking show. We did. We did it. It's been an hour, bitches. The reason why we only do an hour, just so you know, is because you're going to be on radio. So I edit this, take out all the cuss words, the bombs, and we got an hour radio show that goes on in Oregon. So you'll be on the radio in Oregon today, next Friday. Sorry. So tell them who you are. Tell them your show socials. Tell them everything so they can find you, Johnny.
Yes, please. Yeah, so I'm Jonny Hags. You can find me at my Instagram, Jonny Hags Comedy. That's JONNYHAGS
No H
Comedy.
in his name, by the way. He was very particular. Like with my UA, he's no H in Joni. Okay.
JONNY, because my name is Jonathan with just JON. So yeah, Jonny Hags Comedy on Instagram. And I have a nonprofit I started for comedy shows in the area. Uh, Comedy for Crises on Instagram. So Comedy for Crises. We'd love if you would follow and boost that. And I'm on the radio every first Sunday of the month, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. My show, Ciudad del Surf, if you're into uh, surf, garage rock, a lot of Latin music. It is world music, lots of African rock and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you're a DJ and a comedian. Holy shit.
Mhm.
And a bad dancer. If you don't have connective tissue, I'm pretty sure you're not good on the dance floor. I'm sorry, that was too far. Like Fraggle Rock all over the place. Ah!
No, I can do moves you wouldn't expect.
Oh,
It will
stomp
be a good
it.
do the moonwalk.
Oh shit. Fucking Silvi. He doesn't know what the moonwalk is. He's not that
Yes, I
old.
do.
Well, thank you for having us, Johnny. Remember, tell everybody he's in Sacramento. Check him out. He's at Punchline on Tuesday. Isn't that what you said?
I will be at Last Unlimited this
Laughs
Tuesday.
Unlimited this Tuesday. In February, he'll be at Punchline doing a roast. Thank you for showing up, Johnny. I hope you had a good time. Give it up for our co-host, Sylvie
Yay.
Santoso, not Santosa, Santoso,
Yeah, thank
and
you.
her conservative Asian ways. Jesus Christ.
Mm.
She's so judgy. God damn it. And I've been your host with the most. I'm Dante Suitman Barnett. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Remember, two things we always want you to do. Ask questions and be non-judgmental. If you don't understand, ask somebody what they said. And if they get mad, just leave them the fuck alone. I mean, some people are going to get mad. They've had they've had their fill. It may not be their day to tell you what queer means. Okay, that just walk away. What do you mean? What is queer? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Just walk away. But some people, like Johnny, like some of us, they're open for a conversation. Have a good conversation. Leave your judgments and your prejudices at home, and just be compassionate. Did I miss anything on that one, Johnny? I got it right.
You nailed it.
Only took 59 fucking minutes, right? No. I've been Suit Man. Thank you for being here, you guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thank you.